Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access Live. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Email us, PackersTotalAccess@gmail.com. You can text us 865-658-5824. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay, here to talk some Green Bay Packers this evening as we got our first injury report out. Got some news on Jaire Alexander. Going to be an awesome show. Before we get into everything, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors tonight, and that's the great folks over at Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. Wisconsin-based since '92, specializing in Packers tickets. They are Wisconsin's largest ticket source with offices next to Lambeau and in Milwaukee. Click on the link in the video description that'll send you to their website, theticketking.com. You can register as a customer. Go ahead and start shopping for your Packers tickets. Again, that's Ticket King, the official ticket provider of Packer Fan Total Access Live. All right, Tim, how we doing this evening, bub? You good?
How's in there. Happy New Year.
There you go. Love it, man. United Bates with the first super chat of the night. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks, Clay and crew, for all the work you put into this throughout the last year. I'm sure this one will only be better. Thoughts out to New Orleans. Stay frosty, everyone. Agreed there, Bates. Very well said, buddy. And again, yeah, thoughts and prayers to everyone that's dealing with everything in New Orleans. I know there's other stuff going on across the country as well.
Yep.
Stay frosty. That's I think that's the best way to put it. Be honest with you.
Well said, Bates. Well said. Thank you.
As Mike Hebring said, keep your head on a swivel, right? That's another
right.
way of putting it. So, again, though, man, it's tough. Me and Tim talked about this offline. We weren't going to mention it because this is a football podcast and people want to unplug from things that are going on around the world that are just absolutely horrible. But it bothers me to see, anybody obviously lose their life and just a freaking senseless act of terror. But to see that it was, as many as 2 or 3 young parents, had little babies, and those babies are going to grow up without their parents because of decisions that we've made as a country and stuff that's out of their hands. Obviously, they were just going out to celebrate New Year's. But again, I don't want to get deep into it. I don't. Bates, completely agree with what you said, buddy. Thank you for the super chat. And again, hopefully what we can be here is a little outlet to kind of unplug from everything that is bad. And let's just talk ball, have fun, and lean on each other, that type of thing. You know what I mean? But thank you for bringing it up too, though, Bates. I completely understand. Tim, you got anything to add to that, buddy?
No, I think you hit it on the head right there. This is a chance to not let people like that win. We have to continue to live our lives and do things that bring us joy. And that's what I think we should do tonight, man. Let's talk some ball.
Yeah. And if you want to make a difference, reach out to your neighbors.
That's right.
Call 5, 6, 7 people that you know. Say, hey, you guys good? Everybody good over there? Anything we can do? It's the best thing you can do for your country, man, for sure. If everybody takes care of one person, no one's left untaken care of.
That's right.
That's the way I see it. So, all right. Again, thank you for the super chat there, Bates. Let's do this, Tim. Let's get things cranked with the Patreon group. We had a couple questions in here. Then we'll walk through Twitter, give you guys the injury news, all that good stuff. We should probably do the injuries first, but I'm just going to start here. Well, first of all, Josh Martin with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. He says, here, let me just go ahead and give you all the quick down low. Josh Martin says, Jaire out for the year was a big blow to our defense. Again, we'll hit on the injury report here in a minute as we got the news that he did have his knee scoped. Sounds like he's done for the year. I'm hearing some people say there's a chance he can make it back for the Super Bowl if we were to make it to the Super Bowl. But obviously there was an extra operation there. Like I said, we'll hit on it here in a minute. Just wanted to acknowledge Josh Martin for the super chat. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate you. So, questions in the Patreon group. Chris Nichols says, well, again, let me do this. Let me back up. Poll question tonight, trying to get everybody's take on this, okay? Which offensive position do you think is the Packers' biggest need this offseason, okay? Offensive line, wide receiver, tight end, or quarterback, okay? Wide receiver ran away with it on Twitter. I want to say, man, that's surprising, but it doesn't surprise me because Twitter's always saying we need a receiver, we need a receiver, we need a receiver, right? So, but it does kind of line up here. Again, go get your vote in. Chris Nichols with the first question says, Clayton, I love Reed, but I think it's okay to acknowledge that he struggles against man coverage. I heard a pod mention he ranked 188th against man coverage his last year in college. I don't mean to laugh, but you may have answered this already. But how does he stack up thus far in the pros? Go Pack, go. When you have to tack on 2 or 3 specifics in a stat, that's what I refer to as cherry picking, right? The
Yeah.
last year in college, right, against only man coverage, when the wind's blowing 13 mile an hour, when you're on the road, and there's only 60% attendance, like that stuff kind of makes me chuckle. I'm not gonna lie, but I know I put a tweet out earlier, and we'll walk through Twitter here in a minute and get it for you guys. But I looked up the receiving earlier. I was just kind of combing through. When you filter out 20% minimum targets to wide receivers in the league, Jayden Reed is second in the league in passer rating when targeted, only behind Terry McLaurin. So I'm not going to go take the time to find out how effective he is or isn't at man coverage, because I could care less, to be honest with you, because you're not going to face man coverage. You face man coverage less than any other defense in the league, right? That's another reason why when I hear that mentioned, it's now it just so happened on Sunday, Minnesota caught you napping and threw a bunch of man coverage at you.
Yep.
And that's typically not that Chris is doing this. I know he's not. Chris is a very, very intelligent Packer fans. Most fans, when something goes wrong, the pendulum swings. Here's the problem. We got to attack. We got to do something. We got to do something. Like all I've been hearing all day is about the coverage, right? Like we need a corner. We should have had a corner. I was texting with Justin. Justin is completely hell-bent that we didn't take Cooper DeJean. He keeps talking about it all the time. And we're going back and forth. And what I pointed out is Carrington Valentine has a better passer rating when targeted than Cooper DeJean. Like, that's a legit thing, according to PFF and NFL Pro. So, like, because we've seen them convert on 2 or 3 plays that were crucial plays in that game where Keyshawn Nixon had really good coverage on the guy. It's just Bull was late to his spot. By the way, in case anybody's wondering, that's a backup player at that position. Any backup player. If you take Cooper DeJean out and put their backup nickel in, right?
You're going to see a dip. Yeah.
Exactly. So you got to really put things into perspective. You got to take everything into consideration when you're talking about this stuff. But as far as Jayden Reed here, he may struggle against man coverage. Again, that doesn't concern me because his overall body of work, he's absolutely lighting it up. He's passing up pretty much every statistic that he had last year. He's better than this year. We highlighted, it was like 6 or 7 key statistics, right? So he's still improving in his second year. He's going to have more yards in his first year. The only thing he's lacking on his touchdowns, he's 2 touchdowns shy of what he had last year, right? But yeah, I think Jayden Reed is exactly what we expected out of a second-round pick, man.
Guess we'll get 2 tutters against the Bears then on Sunday.
That's what I'd like to
get
see.
Them caught up.
And again, passer rating when targeted with 20%. All right, 20% of the snaps. So that removes all those guys that just had less than 20% of the most snaps by a wide receiver in the league. Jayden Reed's second in the league, only behind Terry McLaurin. And by the way, he's 2 spots higher than Amon-Ra St. Brown. And oh, by the way, for everyone that's going, I can't believe trash Jalen Nellers chewed us up. That's why we need a corner, blah, blah, blah. Jalen Neller is 3rd in passer rating when targeted this year, just so we get that straight there. Much fewer snaps, but still met the criteria of that 20%. So, just wanted to point that out. Sandy Lane, Packer, or Fractal. I'm sorry, Tim, you got anything to add to that with Jayden Reed there, buddy? I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Let's keep rolling.
All right. Fractal of God says, Matt LaFleur, very good, but not great. Outcoached against the Bucs. Your thoughts? When you say outcoached, it's hard for me to disagree with that because, again, I disagree with the 4th down decision. Doesn't mean I'm right and he's wrong. To say someone's outcoached, if you lose by 1 point, I feel like you're outcoached. That's kind of how I look at it. But again, I'm a boring fan. I don't try to break it down and go, boy, was he outcoached by their defensive coordinator, B-Flow? I will say this, B-Flow were pumping his fist on the sideline and all celebrating early, and then we come back and almost beat their ass at the end, cracked me up because you've seen him. He was really showing some emotion over there, like we got these guys, and then next thing you know, he's over there with clenched butt cheeks on the sideline, stressed out. So, but
that's
very
probably what
good.
it is, right? It took too long for Matt to process the fact that they were throwing all these man looks at us.
Mm-hmm.
And we started getting things clicking towards the end again, and just wasn't quite enough to get over the hump,
Yeah. So if there's a legit gripe or argument with Matt LaFleur, it's that maybe you take a little too long to adjust, right? Yeah. And he can get better just like everybody else. Now, as far as if you're saying overall, not just this game, he's very good but not great, I have to disagree. The dude's top 10 in winning percentage all time. That's all time. Out of every head coach who's ever coached in the National Football League, Matt LaFleur is top 10 in winning percentage all time. So if that ain't great, boy, I'd like to know what is. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how I see that. And again, probably too simple of a way of answering that. Chris Nichols with another one says, "Hey Clayton, I know we talked about this already, but with the new information on the Ja situation, your thoughts on him returning for next season?" Nothing has changed for me, Chris. It's been the same all along. They're going to look to restructure that contract. And if Ja plays hardball and says, "Nope, I want everything guaranteed. I'm not taking a pay cut," and he's not willing to kind of meet in the middle, I could see Goody moving on. If they go to him and restructure it in a sense, if you could even make it to where it's more incentive based as well, you could tack on something, make it, hey, you're going to end up being the highest paid corner in the league if you play every game, that type of thing. That might make sense. But now my opinion has not changed, and there's no new information, Chris. Like, we knew there was a setback. That's the thing. Everybody's making it sound like there's new information, but there's not new information other than the setback was he ended up getting his knee scoped. That's all, that's what we know now. And when did it happen? It really doesn't matter. We know when he hurt his leg or retweaked it there against the Bears. So now
I'm assuming it was pretty recently though, right?
It felt like it. Yeah.
That's what it seems like, right?
Yeah.
And they probably did that to see if, now what are we looking at in there? And then now can he go? And obviously,
it was worse than they thought.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So A-Fam voted quarterbacks, what Joyce Martha said. I love it. So yeah, again with the whole Ja thing, there's some beat reporters that are making it sound like there's something else going on behind the scenes. You guys heard me this morning. I'm going to hold off on that, man. I hate trying to guess. If I get to the point where I feel convicted, hey, something's going on, just in my heart, like my opinion, I'll say my opinion. I never got to that point with Ja, like, oh man, this is now when people started drawing parallels with David Bakhtiari, I think it's a pretty fair parallel. The same thing happened with Bach. His knee was trashed. Yeah. And they kept trying to make him go out there and do it, and it kept swelling up. Well, what happened this week? It swelled up again, right? So they decided to go ahead and get it scoped. But hopefully that answers your question there, man. But no, my opinion hasn't changed. Has yours changed at all, Tim, on that front with Ja?
No, we're just trying to figure out if Ja's going to take a restructure or, and then if he doesn't, like you said, if he plays hardball, then, Goody moving on. Well, what does that mean? Because I don't see them outright releasing him. So you're talking about Goody having his work cut out, trying to get a trade done.
Yeah. Jim in the chat says Jair's getting season-ending surgery. He was done the same day he initially injured the knee. It looks like Jair was trying to make a go of it. Without the surgery, Jair never had a chance.
Well, wait, a scope is not surgery, though. Mm-hmm. So did he have surgery? Is that what they're saying? Are they saying he's going to have surgery now?
I thought a scope was considered surgery.
No, I don't think that's full-on knee surgery, right? You're being scoped, removing fluid, cleaning out, looking in there, seeing what the damage is. I'm not a doctor, okay? So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
So don't be on that. We got to clear this up, though. Is it like a full-on knee surgery?
I mean, we could look up the definition of surgery. I'd rather not take the time to do it. But when I think of a surgical procedure, I think of them slicing something. Right?
Me too. Yeah,
and that's what they got to do with the scope. They got to slice go in there with the scope, with the little microscope, and look around and everything. And they can clean out and all that stuff. So I'm assuming that's considered.
But is that repairing? Is cleaning out repairing something that's busted up? You get what I'm saying? I guess like how invasive are we talking here?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I'm looking at here. I don't think he sees anything with the repair. He just said surgery. I was just going off of his here. So initial knee surgery. So yeah,
the wife just cleared it up.
Mm-hmm.
If they go into scope, they may go into clean out too, so it can be considered minor surgery. Thank you. There it is. So it was a surgery.
I need one of these nerds in the chat to Google the definition of surgery. I need to know now. This is how my mind works. When I don't know something, it's like, I got to find this out now. So we'll see if that's just involves cutting, if it actually involves repairing something.
I'll tell you one thing that's crystal clear. The idea that Jair didn't want to be out there is complete and utter BS. This to me looks like a guy who kept trying to go week to week. Remember we were saying, why didn't they put him on IR? Because maybe Ja was pushing back saying, don't you dare put me on IR. I'm going to try and come back from this. So there's a dude who wanted to see the field. So miss me with he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to play, all that crap. I'm not subscribing to that. Sorry.
Yeah. And again, when the way that I think it's the way that they all handled it, LaFleur and Jair, there was a couple comments that were made that perked my ears up, like, what the heck's going on? Why would you not just answer that straightforward? And then of course, when Jair was asked by Wildy, hey, can you talk to him? And he said no, and he ran out of there real quick. So that makes you think, all right, was there something going on too? But again, I have no reason to believe there was anything other than he, like exactly what you just said, man. He was trying to go at it, kept re-injuring it, and I don't fault him for that, man. He's trying to get out there with his teammates, He was. I don't appreciate how it was handled personally, because they made it sound like and this, again, Matt didn't make it sound like this. The reporting on it made it sound as if there might be a disagreement between the coaches thinking he can go and him thinking he can't go.
Of course.
And that kind of felt
people
like
click on your article when you write stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I suppose. I know this, boy. It is hilarious watching them refuse to pay for Twitter. They won't pay the $12 it costs for Twitter, but they want you to get past that paywall for them. That cracks me the hell up every time I see that. I'm just being honest about it. But anyway, Chris N says, "Good evening, y'all. I voted O-line partly just based on number of players per group, but also because I hope they upgrade at center and at least add competition / depth to right guard and left tackle by default, Chris." And I think this is kind of what you're saying here, bud. By default, you have to, right? You got to make sure that you got enough bodies in that offensive line room. You typically got a minimum. I personally would like to see 10 carried on the active roster. That way you got a backup at each position. And typically one of those, the guard or the center backup, the reason sometimes you only have 9 actives because the backup center is playing another position. They just rotate them in. But so, if we look at the roster, I'm sure we could look up and go, yeah, I don't feel good about these 10 that are on the roster. You probably want to add a couple more. And then when you add a couple more and there's no pressure and you're just going strictly off the board and you're not trying to reach because you got a position of need, that's where you hit on your Zach Toms, That's where you hit on those guys, the David Bakhtiaris, people like that a little later in the draft. So, but yeah, completely agree with the way you voted there, man. And again, we'll get those tallied up here in a minute for sure. Respect Orange's O-line for me too. Picked up some good jars to keep on the shelf last year, but I think they should look into a center even if they bring Myers back. Okay. You guys know I've been very vocal. I think we need to upgrade center. If I'm not opposed to bringing Myers back for the right price, but I think with his physicality, his makeup, he's going to hit the market and somebody's going to pay him damn good money. If they pay John Runyon money, they're going to pay Josh Myers money. I promise you that. So
it's true.
That's why I wouldn't be surprised if we look up to and Goody re-signs him. That wouldn't surprise me, But me personally, I would like to try to upgrade the center position because you look at those great teams, they've got great centers. And I don't think anybody would say Josh Myers is a great center. I'm not sure if many fans would say he's good. I don't think he's bad, but it's just such an important position that I would like to see us go out and get a good or a great center person. So, Tim, you got anything to add to the center position there, man?
I agree. We talked about O-line and, look, we're going to have to pay Rasheed Walker at some point too here. We got to think about that. And you talk about overpay for great, don't overpay for good. I don't care who it is. I think we do need to look at possibly the fact that, we could be in a situation where Rasheed Walker is playing hardball here at some point in time. And so maybe having a, either a swing tackle or somebody versatile enough that maybe you can plug and play them as a center and then use them as emergency backup in another fashion. But I would agree. I think center is probably the most important thing on our O-line right now that we need to address. We've got to make steps to improve there. And for all we know, it could be that guy could be on the team right now. We don't know. We've talked about the musical chairs we have seen there. We've seen Elton play there. We've seen Sean Ryan play there. I don't know. They're going to put Jacob Monk at center. I mean, there's lots of different options, but I do think that when it comes to the O-line, that's probably priority one, getting it fixed in the middle.
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn says, is a scope an actual surgery or just a look into the knee to see what's going on? When I've heard people say they scope my knee, I've heard multiple people say after the scope, they cleaned a bunch of stuff out. So I think scope is just the act of that's the way they can get in there.
Right.
Very, very
what they're doing to get in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And since I'm a detail-itis kind of guy, I went ahead and looked it up here. All right. The actual definition of surgery is the branch of medical practice that treats injuries, diseases, and deformities by the physical removal, repair, or readjustment of organs and tissues, often involving cutting into the body. The fact that it says often involving and not always involving makes you think surgery doesn't even have to involve cutting. So it's just repairing something. So
There you go.
yeah. And I think they did. I want to say they did clean it out, right, Tim? They didn't just look in there and go, that's what's wrong, and they got
No,
out.
they
Right?
did. That's what they were saying. There was clean out also.
All right. Not that it even matters. I can't believe we spent this much time on it, but here we are. Respect Oranges. Ja talked about Super Bowl pretty much day one. It's on his birthday.
Yep.
I'm sure he's devastated. Yeah, there's no one that's going to be more devastated than that for sure, man. All right. Holmes MD1 says, I'm a physician, Clay. I shared the definition. If you enter the human body to do a procedure, it's either diagnostic and then therapeutic if there is something found to repair. There you go. So I was always under the impression that it was you having to enter the body is, surgically. Yeah. But
you would do it with an old Swiss Army knife or something, right? And just,
I don't know, man. I'll tell you, Tim, blood and guts don't bother me at all. But when I see a bone snap under the skin and the thought of something being in there that I can't fix myself, that bothers me a lot. So, yeah. All right. There you go, guys. We got our Grey's Anatomy segment done for the day here.
Let's talk about corner now.
Let's do that.
Any free agent corners floating around?
Let's stop into Twitter real quick. There's going to be some of the stuff we've already hit on, but I'm just going to kind of weave it in as we go. Like I said, details on Jair Alexander as the Packers shut him down for the year. Tom Silverstein said, according to a source, Alexander had an arthroscopic procedure to figure out what was causing the pain in his knee and cleaning it out. It's not considered major surgery. He tried to work through it in practice, but kept tweaking it. His season is over. His season is over. I went, oh, man. But then I heard someone else say there's a chance if we were to make it to the Super Bowl, he could potentially play in the Super Bowl. So got to be careful with that one. But I did want to read this. So that was that clip that I had shared off of the telecast before where Tom Brady was bragging on Josh Jacobs, where you guys remember he pointed at Jalen Johnson and said, come here, and ran him over. Well, Jalen Johnson's running that mouth this week, Tim, as ML Football tweeted out, wow, Bears cornerback Jalen Johnson says F the Packers before their game against Green Bay this week. F them. That's how I'm feeling. I'm going to try to go out there with a bang, is what he said.
Yep.
And that's why I simply came back with this and said, I said, Jalen Johnson must have a short memory. And I put that clip of him getting absolutely just annihilated there. So we'll move off of that before we get here. I'm watch that 30 seconds will get us, and probably this one too. Let's see here. Wes Hockowitz had put a tweet out. There will be another quarterback. There will never be another quarterback who played the game quite like Aaron Rodgers. If Sunday really is last call, take a minute to appreciate what you saw on the field the past 2 decades. Your eyes witnessed something special, and he was obviously referring to Aaron Rodgers. Adam Schefter tweeted out, Aaron Rodgers acknowledged that Sunday could be his last NFL game. So I think it's pretty much all but been said here, Tim, that Aaron's not going back to the Jets. It seems like there's some validity to that report now. So if he does end up continuing to play, he's obviously going to play in a different uniform. Man, I don't know. I don't know why he doesn't just take all that money and go hang out somewhere, you know?
That might be what he does, though, when it's all said and done. And you can't say that he didn't try and give it a go. You know, how he rehabbed from that injury, and the amount of time he did at the age and body type that he it's impressive. And you know, at least he could walk away. He could hang it up right now, knowing that he tried to play, you know, and that you gave it a full, you know, another year. But I don't see him. Again, I don't know the guy personally, but like I don't see him going through this again with another team, right? You're going to go to and try and do all this whole song and dance all over again. I think Aaron probably takes the bag and he's on a beach somewhere, right?
Yeah, I sure wouldn't do it. Now, listen, he's playing with one of the worst rosters in the league. And obviously coming off that Achilles injury, he's still grading out a 76.5 this year. To me, that's good enough to just ride off into the sunset with. Like, hey, we gave it a go. We tried to keep playing. It didn't work. Now go do something that you're passionate about, man. I'd like to see him get some kind of broadcasting gig just because you know he's going to say what's on his mind, and I appreciate that.
Right.
So, but I don't think he will, though. I think he hates the media too much to do that, to be honest with you. So,
What about, do you see him in any kind of coaching? Maybe retire and then, step away for a year or something. And then maybe he's in somebody's quarterback room, some kind of assistant or quarterback whisperer kind of guy.
Based off of what he said on the Pat McAfee show, I want to say no, because they have made comments like, no way I could be a coach with the time that these guys have to put in. Because you want to talk about grueling job, man. Those guys are sleeping in the facility. I mean, they got 16-hour days. Like, it's nuts, right? I don't think that would be his cup of tea, but what you said there about being maybe an assistant, a specialist, that type of thing, that could possibly work.
I think it just like when you hear Jordan talk about, his relationship with Aaron and, the time they spent together going over film and, then also out on the practice field and just little things like that. Like, I feel like, Aaron would be a good, like, kind of more of a hands-on guy working with young quarterbacks and getting them acclimated. So I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe kind of like a consultant role,
Yeah, could be. I wouldn't rule it out. And I think obviously he's got a lot to share, a lot of advice to give. I mean, what he did with Jordan was phenomenal, in my opinion. You see how many times this year we've said, boy, it looks like 12 right there. You could tell he's picked up on some of his game for sure. The way he took him under his wing, man. Again, I think there's not enough Packer fans that truly appreciate that, really. Wish I could show the video here. It's just another highlight, though, no big deal. According to PFF stat database, Carrington Valentine is currently 14th in passer rating when targeted at cornerback in the entire NFL. He's currently ranked 16th with a 72.4 PFF grade. So, again, I know the big talk is we need a corner, and I know Valentine does not play slot corner. And you guys know I feel like we need a slot corner more than any other cornerback position. But Carrington Valentine, man, he has really turned it on. You're talking about him being a top 20 cornerback right now. And I know this catches people off guard, and they got to go, wait, what? Yeah, that's legit. Passer rating when targeted, he's 14th when you remove the 20%ers out of there, like we talk about. And then when you go to the PFF grade overall, 72.4, that's 16th in the league. Guys, Carrington Valentine, there's no reason that we should think he is not going to be a solid starting corner. That grade right there would suggest he's a very good NFL cornerback. What's great? I feel like great's probably top 10, elite would be top 5 to me. The fact that he's in that 14th spot, we've got a very good corner who's a 7th-round pick under contract for 2 years after this year. Pennies on the dollar. Boy, oh boy. I'm excited to see him continue to grow, and I'm really excited to see him in these playoffs. Tim, he's been the rock at the cornerback position this season with Jair being out. When you think about it, when they finally pulled the trigger and moved on to him from Stokes, right? It's like, man, he's really settling in now. So does that catch you off guard, or is it just me, man? I've seen that, and you guys know I've been here lately. I've been like, holy cow, dude, he's playing really good football. We see it all over the tape.
Yep.
But I didn't expect him to be top 20 like that. That's wild.
Yeah, no, it's kind of a surprise, but then it's also kind of not, because you kind of, I remember being real excited seeing him, last year when he came into camp, and just you kind of saw that energy that he brings. Mm-hmm. And there was a part of me early on that kind of expected, maybe Carrington Valentine is that guy, and it's looking like, year 2, he's stepping up exactly when this team needed him to. You go down your number 1 corner, you don't have a choice. That's why they say next man up. And, credit to Matt LaFleur and the staff for doing what was right, which is moving Stokes into that kind of rotational backup role. Yeah. And letting Valentine and Keyshawn go out there and cook. And I think they play well together. I think there's a chemistry between those guys for sure. And, the only icing on the cake would be, hopefully Javon Bullard stepping up and really being able to play in the slot. Of course, if we can get a safety to go back there so he doesn't have to play on the boundary, or on the back end, excuse me. So we'll see. But I think Carrington Valentine's ascension is right on time, and it is a little surprising, but I'm not completely shocked, and I'm loving every second of it.
Me too, man. And you guys know I caught some heat last year because I was supposed to be the Kentucky fanboy, right? Him being a Wildcat. And lo and behold, you look up and throughout the year, I'm going, yeah, he's playing a lot, but I don't feel like he's playing good. I mean, he wasn't bad. He was kind of average, right? And it's like everybody was acting like, wow, this dude is a legit corner. And then this year I've seen it. It's like he took that next step. And the statistics are right there with it. The grades right there with it. The tape's lining up. The availability, accountability's there. I don't know if I can't think of the last time he got called for a penalty, Tim. I mean, it seems like it's been a while. He plays pretty fundamentally sound in that regard too. So pretty impressive, man. Looks like Ohio State just beat Oregon 41-21, so they will advance. I made some money off that one, Tim. I looked up in the second quarter, and they were offering Oregon plus 27.5, and I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and
go get your money, man. Start the new year right.
Put a little cheddar on that, and we cha-ching, right? We finished that. That never at any point did you feel like that was not going to cover there. So pretty cool. Coach Lynn says Stokes has turned it on also. So let's do this. Let's do a little deep dive, man. And the poll question that we put out there here in the YouTube chat, you guys will see it on the offensive side of the ball. It looks like offensive line is leading the way, then wide receiver. So we're going to add those two needs to our needs list. So what we've come up with now, Tim, is defensive tackle, slot corner, offensive line, and wide receiver. Those are our top needs according to the listeners. And kind of, I think I agree with that too. You tell me if you disagree. What do you think about those being the top four needs? In no particular order: D tackle, cornerback on defense, offensive line, wide receiver on offense. What do you think about that, man? Be honest too. It's totally cool.
No, I do. I agree with it. I definitely think wide out is probably at the bottom of that list if we were going to put it in order. But I do agree with the fact that you do need to look at bringing in some more talent, because it's going to be difficult to keep this core group together in the long haul. Chances are, we've talked about this, we're probably going to lose either Watson or Dobbs at some point. So you've got to keep that system moving, right? You got to have new talent coming in all the time. And, hopefully you can hit on guys. And I see, Jaden Reed probably being part of the long-term plan. So he'll probably stay around, and you got to bring in, a new crop of talent. So I agree. And like you said, no particular order. Those definitely are the positional groups, though, that I would put at the forefront. I would agree.
Got it. All right, so let's start with corner. That's the tab I had open already. This is what I was talking about. According to PFF, again, 20% of 694 snaps, so you're filtering out a lot of that noise at the bottom right. And here's what we got. NFL passer rating when targeted amongst cornerbacks. You'll notice right here on the list is our boy. It's hard to find him without the logo here. Hold on just one second. Let me find it. I may have pulled up the wrong tab here too. Let me see here, because I was being asked about man coverage and stuff earlier today, so we might have got off track. I hate how PFF, you got to scroll to the bottom to go over to, makes it a little more difficult. And God forbid I hit the arrows on this keyboard, everything goes all the heck. But when we go, here we go. So man coverage is that one right there. In man coverage, Carrington Valentine is 14th in passer rating when targeted.
Here's the guy.
72.4 coverage grade as well. I mean, to me, dude, I don't know what else you could ask for, right? And man coverage, we know, is like the great test for cornerbacks, is to see, all right, how are these guys going to be able to perform when they're on an island trying to cover someone. Him grading out 14th is just wild to me. Cooper DeJean, another one that people, are really, really in love with here. Cooper DeJean is sitting in the 17 spot in man coverage at a 64.8. So Carrington Valentine is actually playing better man coverage than Cooper DeJean at the moment. That's pretty wild to think about. Now, if we slide on down, look at our boy Keyshawn Nixon, Tim. He's in the 30 spot at 74.1. So if you look at it from that standpoint right there, forget the grades for a minute, just look at passer rating when targeted there in man coverage. And again, who knows if PFF actually includes match coverage with that too. You probably got some match mixed in as well. I wish we had the recipe to dissect it all. But you've got two cornerbacks that are top 32 cornerbacks. So you've essentially got two starting corners. The problem is you need a third because you are playing a lot of nickel defense, right? And if we slide on down, our next highest graded one here in man coverage with the passer rating when targeted is Jair Alexander at 120.1. So Jair Alexander is actually grading out 95th in the league passer rating when targeted in man coverage. So do with that what you want. Against man coverage, Jair has not been good this year. Now, we're not going to be playing man coverage that much, but I think it's a true test of how good of a cover corner you got when you're put on those islands. You guys know I want to see 0 man coverage moving forward. Eric Stokes, 123.2 in man coverage, right? So that's kind of how he shakes up there. Let's see if we can hop over and check out some of the zone looks here as well. I believe we'll be able to pull it up. Like I said, it's like trying to herd cats here when you're doing this. All right, so passer rating in zone coverage, I'm pretty sure Carrington will take a dip here, if I remember correctly. So let's just go through and kind of see where everyone is at here. The first Green Bay corner is actually Jair at, and I can't see it, but he's 24th because I'd have to go all the way over. He's 24th in passer rating when targeted in zone coverage, so he plays zone a lot better. Eric Stokes is 29th in zone. Okay, and then you've got on down the list here, Carrington Valentine's 55th in zone coverage.
Wow,
passer rating when targeted.
So Keyshawn and CV are our man coverage guys then for sure.
Yeah, and again, to me, that means they're your best cover guys.
Yep.
You did, and again, you guys know where I stand there. You don't want to be in man coverage, but I feel like that's the more detailed evaluation of a cornerback is when they're having to face someone one-on-one. And by the way, Carrington Valentine in zone coverage, a better passer rating when targeted than Cooper DeJean there, 1 spot higher. So I know Cooper DeJean's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I know we got fans that are like, they're distraught that we didn't get Cooper DeJean. It's like,
yeah, don't tell them how well our 7th round corner is playing right now.
Right. And again, I think that people freak out when you see that Minnesota game. You go, oh, man, it was our cornerbacks that let us down. I think it was more the pass rush that let you down than the corners. I mean, anybody can do what Darnold did when you got all day to sit back there and do it, right? Now, doesn't mean Darnold didn't make good throws. It doesn't mean that Darnold didn't make good decisions. You know what I'm saying? He obviously did all day long.
And it doesn't mean we didn't have a busted coverage here and there either, because that was true also.
Exactly. So, again, when we're looking at corner, that's kind of how that shakes out, right?
Clay, do you think we'll see more Corey Ballantyne down the stretch now?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I think if everyone stays healthy, Tim, and I know that's a big if, you're going to have Evan Williams at safety in the playoffs. So I think that what you'll have happen is Keyshawn, or I'm sorry, Bullard will go back to the slot. Keyshawn will be outside. It'll be Carrington.
I wasn't aware of that, so we got good news on Williams.
No, I'm saying they're saying he will be ready for the playoffs. I've heard that the whole time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, unless you've heard something else. Were you thinking he might not be ready?
I had no idea. I just know we haven't seen him in a while. Like to see him on the field again, because really that's what's causing. It's not so much our corner play; it's the fact that we're down our safety. And we got to put Bullard back there, and then without Zane Anderson, you start asking questions. Are you going to start moving guys around? Are we going to see Rob Rochelle try to play some safety? I don't know. So if Evan Williams is back for the playoffs, then I feel a hell of a lot better about our team.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed we're planning on him being back, but now that you mention it, I want to say that I heard somebody say in a presser that they expected him back for the playoffs, and it wasn't a coach necessarily. I'm pretty sure it was someone who was at a presser that maybe had said it on their show, and I don't know if it was Wildy or who, but yeah.
Because it's quad, right? Quad, or it's not a hamstring. Is it quad? Quad injury he had?
I think a quadricep here. We got the injury report. Let's just pull it up here real quick. Let's see what we got. As we break it out here. Well, I'll tell you, this thing changes every single day. It's unbelievable. Here we go. All right. So, everybody, this did not participate. Jair Alexander, obviously, he's not going to be available probably for the rest of the year. Zane Anderson with the concussion did not participate. It says okay, cool. So it was just a walkthrough is what it looks like here. Chris Brooks, ankle limited. He's good to go. Javon Bullard, ankle limited. He's good to go. Brenton Cox Jr. did not participate with a foot injury. Andre Dillard with the concussion did not participate. Josh Jacobs limited with the wrist. Elton Jenkins, veteran rest limited. Tucker Kraft, veteran rest limited as well. Quay Walker did not participate with the ankle. Christian Watson with the knee did not participate. Evan Williams with the quadricep did not participate. And then Devontae White with the concussion was full participation. That's good news there, trying to get him through concussion protocol.
Yeah, that's part of the protocol, right? So he's participating in the walkthrough, which is, whatever, walkthrough is a walkthrough. But that is a good sign. Hopefully Devontae Wyatt's back on the field sooner than later.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like all these did not participates, if they are not 100%, I don't want them out there against Chicago. That's me.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you sit starters. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying if they are not 100%, do not put them on the field. And if you go out and it's week 1 of the playoffs and Evan Williams can't go because he can't go, I can accept that because he's just too hurt.
But I can't accept that because you put him in week 18 and he tweaks something. Yeah.
Exactly.
I get it.
Let's see here. Let's check on the chat real quick, see if anybody's got anything in there. Do you guys have any information there as far as when they were expecting our boy Evan Williams back? If you do, throw that in there because I'd like to know that for sure. And let's see if we can go into a little NFL Pro statistics here from the DB standpoint. Tim, if you want to take a look at the Chicago side there for me while I try to pull that up. And just, is there anything on Chicago? I feel like they're fairly healthy. Am I wrong there? Seems like
it for the most part. Tarvarius Moore, full participant with the knee. Roma Dunze illness, so I don't know, cold, flu, something like that, right? You've got Tevin Jenkins, O-lineman with a calf injury, did not participate. These are all did not participate. Travis Homer, their running back, hamstring. Elijah Hicks, another DB, ankle/foot. And Larry Borum, an old lineman. I believe he's a tackle, isn't he?
I think so.
Illness as well. So that's kind of interesting. That's something to watch on the side. Not to get all, Anthony Fauci on everybody, but there's clearly an illness in the Bears locker room, and they're coming to Green Bay this weekend. So everybody, make sure you sanitize, wash your hands, wash your butts. That's it. That's all, right?
Tay tried to tell us, man. He tried to tell us numerous times. We just wouldn't listen. That's the way it goes. So that is the way it goes.
Wash your hands, wash your butt, man. That's it. That's all.
All right. So there's your injury report again, man. It's pretty straightforward for me. I know I've said it. I'm going to say it again. Don't play anyone who's not ready to go. Let's don't screw this up for the playoffs. I want a true gauge. It's not that I think we can go on this crazy run and win the whole thing. I know it's possible. I'm not sitting here going, we got everybody healthy, we're going to go get this. I'm simply saying I want to be able to gauge this team. They may win the whole thing, but if they don't, I want to know here's where we're lacking against the top talent, right? Because we didn't get to see that against Minnesota. We were without 4 freaking starters, 3 on defense, and Christian Watson, your top receiver, arguably your top receiver. So that's the frustrating part about the Minnesota game. You come away, you only lost by 2 points, but you're like, we didn't get a real gauge of this team. It sucks. But it is what it is. Let's do this. Let's jump into the NFL Pro side since we were talking corners and get a little bit better idea here. This is probably going to be hard to see. I'm going to do my best to make it a little more convenient for y'all.
A little less wonky.
Exactly right. All right, so this is qualified defenders only, okay? So we removed some of the noise. There's a certain amount of snaps that's taken into consideration here, okay? Passer rating allowed, all right? Passer rating allowed. This is all DBs, okay? To the best of my knowledge, we can't go corner. We got to go DB. So this includes safeties too, guys. Look at the first on the list here. Xavier McKinney, 57.9. Look right behind him, Tim, according to NFL Pro. 64.0, Carrington Valentine.
Here's a guy.
So he's 19th, and that includes safeties.
Wow.
That's what I'm saying. And I feel like I'm the only person out here saying this.
Let that star rise, man. Let him rise. To the moon we go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Sky's the limit, baby. Let's go.
I'm on Twitter, and I'm like, this is kind of a big deal. Like, why ain't nobody talking about this? This dude just right before our very eyes, man. And it's not a small sample.
We're talking about Jair's knee. We can't.
Exactly. And talking about players that aren't even playing right now, but 459 snaps, man. Dude's playing really good football, man. It's so exciting. And see, what's he up to? 2 interceptions now? So he's got 2 picks now, right? Let's see. Been targeted 27 times, it looks like. And, so obviously he's never rushed the passer being out wide there. I'm trying to see some of his others. Yeah, he did have 1 pass rush snap. That's interesting. Had a couple hustle tackles too. 13 run stops. That's impressive for a corner, especially with the 459 mark there. To put that into perspective, guys, Carrington Valentine has got 13 run stops, and Xavier McKinney's only got 17. Yeah. Xavier McKinney's played twice the amount of snaps.
I think CV is underappreciated as a tackler. Yeah, I really do. I mean, he's a machine out there, and he doesn't look like, he's not a big imposing body type either. He's just a really fundamentally sound tackler.
Yeah, completely agree. We'll probably just keep this to 1 hour tonight, Tim. We'll go a little long, and then we'll just wrap it up. That's cool with you.
Cool.
So, let's see. We'll go cornerback deep dive on the title here. Make sure everybody knows what we're talking about. So let's scroll on down. Let's see where the next one is. And again, this is passer rating allowed. And mark anything in the chat that you see, Tim, that you would like to hit on. We'll make sure we got a super chat, don't we?
I just saw it. Yeah, Badger Trio.
Yeah, we pull starters if Wash is up big. Talking about the Washington Commanders. I don't know, man. Trio, you've heard a lot of talk about this. Belichick talked about it earlier in the week. I think he was on the show with Pat McAfee, and he said the reason that we never did that, we never sat starters, is because how am I supposed to? We can't sit them all. How am I going to go to other starters and say this guy's more important than you? That's not sending the right message to your team, And he pointed out, the players we had on our team, Tom Brady, Mike Vrabel, Teddy Bruschi, people like that, Willie McGinnis, they didn't want to come off the field. They wanted to play, right? Yep. They made the decision very easy for Belichick. And I think that Dan Campbell said something similar there too. So, if Washington is up big and you're saying, okay, we don't care about winning this game, but here you already march your starters out there, I don't think we'll look at it that way, Trio, to be honest with you. I could be wrong. I think you're going out there to win the damn football game.
Yeah, you play to win the game.
Exactly. I think everybody who's healthy will be on that field, and they're going to be out there to win that ball game, well, no matter what Washington does. Again, I understand what you're saying, and it's a smart way of thinking, but I just don't see it being a thing here in Green Bay. Tim, you agree with that or no?
Yeah, I do. Definitely. I don't think they're going to let other teams influence what they're trying to do on the field. And we don't know what they're installing either. The game plan's the game plan. I think Badger Trio is probably, if Washington is up big out of the equation, is there a plan to pull starters on Sunday against the Bears? Probably. We go up, 3 scores, 4 scores. You might start incrementally rotating some of those important pieces out because we got playoff football to get ready for, unlike the Chicago Bears. So
always got to take that shot. Unbelievable.
I do, Clayton. What, I'm supposed to be nice to those guys? Forget it.
The Bears still suck.
It is funny how some people are like, man, I kind of feel bad. No.
Nope. Not with all that crap they're talking right now. No, thank you.
This last offseason, boys, all I heard was how, this is the end of Green Bay and Chicago's taking over the North.
Taking the North and we're not giving it back. Yeah, good luck with that, buddy.
That's so cute. How y'all doing down there in the basement?
Isn't that special?
All the way down there in the basement.
Jay Cole in the chat, I see you. I want to put it on the screen, but Clayton, you see it. I agree wholeheartedly.
Let's see here.
There you go. He edited it himself. That's good. He didn't
put it up there. You're good, Tim. Let that thing.
That's kid friendly. They can do the math though on that one. We know. Amen, J. Cole. Thank you.
That's right. There you go. All right. So climbing on down, passer rating when targeted through the DBs. Evan Williams is 25th in the league at 67.5 as a rookie. Boy, oh boy. How blessed are we? So again, when you look at it, passer rating when targeted, your top defensive backs on this team are Xavier McKinney, Carrington Valentine, and Evan Williams. That's how that shakes out there. Now, if we were to extend it down to 70, let's see if another one may or may not pop up here. Jair Alexander, 77.6 for Jair Alexander. He's 51st in the league. So that would suggest that if you just went passer rating when targeted, that would suggest he's our second best corner on the team. We all know we don't believe that. We think Jair is the best corner when he's healthy, right? On the team. So please don't get it twisted. But again, man, like Joseph said too, that was supposed to be Evan's weakness.
Right.
I agree, man. and here it is. It's like that might be his strength, right? So really, really cool. Really cool.
Love it.
Let's go on down, see if another one. That's it. We just go to 70 there. And this is where it's just going to keep it ranked 70. So I guess it would be 140 would be the technical number. So we'll start at 70 and work our way down. Let's see the next corner that pops up. I'm trying to see where Stokes is because, Coach Lynn had mentioned it, and I wanted to kind of see there. So tack on 70 plus 55, you're what, somewhere around the 120-something mark of all DBs. Keyshawn Nixon, 98.2 passer rating when targeted is where he's sitting right now, okay, according to NFL Pro. All right. Then the next one would be on the list here.
Devon Bullard.
Yeah, seen him back there. I'm going to make sure there's nothing up here. There's Eric Stokes.
Oh, there's Stokes. Okay.
Eric Stokes is 102.1. So that's where Stokes is sitting, passing rate.
And I'm not going to speak for Coach Len, but I think maybe what he's saying is kind of what I'm thinking is that, when you talk about Stokes stepping up, it's him not making huge mistakes. We're not, we always talk about like he doesn't have a lot of PBUs and, no picks and all of this, but I'm also not looking at tape of him getting cooked up and down the field all night. And that's pretty much what you want a, third, fourth guy in your depth chart to be able to do, right? Go in, play a few snaps, don't make any big mistakes. Hell, if you go in and make a play, even better. And I think we've seen that from Stokes the last really 5 to 6 games. He's kind of turned a corner here.
Yeah. And it's showing he's given up 3 touchdowns this year. And we could go watch it. I'm sure that's legit. That's what I love about NFL Pro. We could actually
when we find them. I bet you they were early, right? Early.
Probably, probably were. Yeah.
Yep.
I would imagine so. And then next on the list for the Packers, I think you said we've seen Bullard. So Javon Bullard, 125.5. Listen, anything over 100, guys, to me, that's not good, right? That's just kind of the way I see it. So both Stokes and Bullard are playing backup quality football, and that's why I'm saying, like, if you're going to get a corner, go get a slot, right? And who knows, worst case scenario, you hit on that slot, Bullard amps his game up. Now you got 2 guys that can play slot, and you're a little deeper, right? I just wouldn't put it at the top of the priority list for me personally, especially seeing that you got Xavier McKinney seems to line up over the nickel more than he does opposite the nickel, and I think that helps kind of stop the bleeding there too. When you got a quarterback looking up going, okay, I'm not going to try to go over the top against this nickel corner here because there's X, and X will pick that ball off, right? So just another way of looking at it. So there you go. There's your cornerback deep dive. A really defensive back deep dive. I just wanted to kind of dive into that since cornerback was a hot topic earlier today with some of the poll questions that we did put out there. Let's see here. Respect Orange just says, get a lead, dominate the Bears, and then we can start pulling starters. There you go. That's the game plan.
Heard it from a fan right here.
AFAM says we need to run more tempo.
We need more cowbell. No,
I like tempo too. I really do. I like it in moderation.
Yes, you hit it on the head. In moderation. Yep.
Exactly. And I know people get frustrated when you wait till the last second on the play clock to snap the ball. I get it. But understand they're trying to take every second to gather information so they can make the right read on the play, they being Jordan Love, right? So there's pros and cons. If you snap it early, you're snapping right into their disguise every single time. So just a good combination of both. And like what AFAM says here, I don't disagree with that at all, man. I think it's a pretty darn good idea to go out there and go tempo occasionally, man.
Yeah, I had to star that one, because every once in a while hell freezes over, and I agree with AFAM on something. And totally. And when it's like you said, you got to use it kind of sparingly. You got to be picky when you do it. And we have seen the boys do it and get 12 men on the field. We have seen it. That's really when you're running tempo, like not in 2-minute drill. To me, it's a way to just keep them from subbing or making it more difficult for them to sub, and then you get the free play looks. So I agree. I would like to see more tempo peppered in throughout games situationally, not just 2-minute drill.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. So we got that covered. Receiver was another thing that kind of got brought up, right? So I'd already kind of hit on that with my tweet. Jaden Reed, people still asking about Jaden Reed, he's having a down year. I don't see it, man. Again, it'd be different if you look up and go, man, he's 100 yards shy of where he was last year. And, it's just the passer rating when targeted's down. It's not. It's up. He's second in the league. So I really just don't understand that argument too much. It doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just simply saying I'm having a hard time seeing it. And again, when people have to pull the stats of man coverage last year in college, it's like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. So
Yep.
that's kind of how that works. It's too much. You can really put too much noise in evaluating a player, evaluating a situation. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
yeah. All right. When we looked at receiver grades earlier, we already talked about that, so we're good there. We do have this. We could wrap the show up with this, Tim, if you want, and just take a quick glance. We hit the injury report, so we know the Jair news. Obviously, we got all that covered. The standings, really no reason to look at it. Let's jump into what we got on.
Yeah, our favorite sheet right here. This is the fan call sheet right here. Nerding on NFL. Gotta love it.
They just do an excellent job. It's so good. I can't brag on them enough. I love this image that we get every week. So Saturday we've got the Browns at the Ravens at the and that's the 4:30 Eastern kickoff, and then you got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. That should be two potential cold weather games there. That's going to be a night game, so that's going to be awesome. You get a couple games on Saturday, and then on Sunday the 1:00 slate, the Bills at the Patriots. That should be a slaughter. The Texans at the Titans, probably the same thing there. Jaguars at the Colts, nothing there on the line. Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys in that 1:00 window. You want to keep your eye on that. We're rooting for the Cowboys in that game, and we want the Packers to win so we can have the 6th seed, right?
Yep.
If Washington wins, there's nothing we can do. They've got the 6th seed. That's why people were asking in the chat, hey, would you be opposed to taking the starters out if Washington jumps up to an early lead? It makes sense, but I would not. Giants at the Eagles in the 1:00 window as well. Obviously, the Bears at the Packers. Looks like it's going to be a cold one on tap. There was a slight chance for snow last time I checked, Tim. Have you been keeping your eye on that at all?
Yeah, we could see some flurries, and it's going to be a little chipper on Sunday.
And y'all got snow everywhere up there right now. It's all around you guys. Might not be hitting in Green Bay right now, but boy, it's covering 80% of Wisconsin. Right
Yep.
That's
We got a cold, like some kind of polar vortex or whatever they call it, some kind of massive cold front kind of deal coming in here. So bring your layers if you're heading to Lambeau.
Yeah, the night before, Saturday night, it's supposed to get down to 5 degrees. And then Sunday, the high is 22. It looks like some of that snow has moved out. There's very, very little chance of snow, but the high that day is going to be 22 degrees, partly cloudy. And then that night, it's going to get down to 14. So it's probably going to be around 20 degrees kickoff, something like that, I would imagine, Tim. Maybe even a little less than that, because it usually gets the warmest this time of year about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's going to be interesting, man. Should be a fun game out there on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. And then the other 1:00 game is obviously the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. There are playoff implications there, as obviously the Falcons and the Buccaneers are both trying to win that division there. The Bucs are currently in the lead, and I've got the playoff simulator off on another screen here. But
playoffs?
Let's say that Atlanta wins and Tampa Bay loses, then Atlanta wins the South, okay? If Tampa wins, they're in the driver's seat. So they just got to win, and they win the NFC South there. So playoff implications on those final two 1:00 games that are listed there. Panthers at the Falcons, Saints at the Buccaneers. Obviously, we're pulling for the Cowboys against the Commanders. And, yeah, everything else is pretty much set in stone for the most part, other than the AFC. Like when you look at the AFC and you got Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Let me just take a quick glance at this real quick. We got the Steelers and the Bengals. If the Bengals win, right, then the Steelers fall to the 6th seed. If the Steelers win, the Steelers jump up to the 5 seed. So that's
that could be
how
a good game too. That could be a really good ball game.
And that's the thing too. Like if the Steelers win, and let's say the Ravens lose their game, we might have something. Let's say the Browns somehow, some way, yeah. If the Ravens lose against the Browns and the Steelers beat the Bengals, then the Steelers are the AFC North champions. Now, if the Bengals beat the Steelers and the Ravens lose, then the Ravens still hold on to the AFC North. So you got several games here. Both Saturday games have playoff implications. That's exciting, man.
Yep.
So keep your eye on that. And then, of course, the 4:25 window here, you got the Dolphins at the Jets. Could be Aaron Rodgers' final game. That's what Wes Hodkiewicz is saying. Like, hey, take a second. Maybe check it out. It might be the last time you see Aaron Rodgers on the football field. Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. You've got the LA Chargers at the Las Vegas Raiders. San Francisco 49ers at the Cardinals. And the Seattle Seahawks at the Rams. What's on the line for that Rams Seahawks? I kind of feel like did Seattle
have the
lose?
simulator?
Yeah, let's see here. Let me I wish I could get it up on the screen at the same time. I guess I can drop that down. Let me try this. Let's put this up and then let's drop that down. Here we go. All right. So we were talking Seahawks, right?
Yeah, Seahawks, Rams.
Let me see if I can get this zoomed in a little bit more for y'all. Here we go. So if the Seahawks win, right, and we got everything cleared right now, the criteria is cleared. If the Seahawks beat the Rams, then nothing changes. So there you go. Is there anyone else that's in the running for that NFC West? It's just Seattle. So the Rams already locked it up with that win the other day. So there's nothing there.
Okay.
Seattle's out of it. So there you go. So that game means absolutely nothing. I'm sure they'll think about sitting their starters there. So, as far as that window of game, I want to say Denver and the Chargers as well. Like Kansas City's going to Denver, right? And drop this back down. So let's look at the Kansas City-Denver game and see what we've got here. Let's say Denver wins that game, all right? And they're already in. They're still the 7th seed if they win that game. The Chargers, they're the 6th seed. So if they lose, they're still the 6th seed. If they win, they're going to climb to the 5th seed, and Pittsburgh would drop before Pittsburgh's game. Of course, Pittsburgh will know who won there. We'll give you these updates when we do our post-game show, too. We'll kind of walk everybody through. So, yeah, you've got probably about 4 or 5 games that's going to control some seeding in the playoffs, man. That's exciting. So
Absolutely, man. I love this time of year, right? Can't believe another season about to be in the books, Clay.
It's crazy, man. I feel kind of depressed, you know?
I know. It is.
And
A little bittersweet.
It's
But at least
wild.
our season didn't end a month and a half ago like the Bears did.
There you go. It's why when people get overly negative, I'm like, God, slow down a minute. Like, let's enjoy this a second. Let's don't be miserable all year long. And I've just got to stop responding to people is what I got to do. I got to get better at it. I hate to ghost people. You know what I mean? I feel like if they're taking time to message me and talk football, I should respond. But I get a lot of messages on Twitter, and it's negative. And I'm like, bro, I can't do this. Like, you guys are dragging me down, man. Raider McCready says, this show sucks. Hit the like button. Hey, if this show sucks, if you're hearing my voice and this show sucks, hit that like button. Show us how much it sucks. Right?
We're going to give him some.
All right, Tim, is there anything else you want to hit on, man? There's no reason trying to stretch this out. We'll probably go live again in the morning for Good Morning Lambeau. So we'll be back in the morning to kind of talk Packers-Bears, little matchup.
Professor Cakes in the chat. Got to do my civic duty here. Hey there, Tim. Got any recommendations on a nice steakhouse in Green Bay? Republic Chop House downtown on Adams Street. Really good stuff. I don't know, Clay, you got a favorite spot up here? Obviously, I'm also a big fan of the Walnut Room down at the Hotel Northland as well, if you want to get a good steak.
Yeah, my 3 spots, if you're looking for like fine dining, Tim just hit them. The Republic Chop House. Is it Republic Chop House or Chop House Republic? Okay, Republic Chop House. They were phenomenal. And we actually seen a couple players come through at the time. Devondre Campbell and his wife came in, and then Jaron Reed came in and went back to the back and ate with them. So it's kind of a upper end. It's kind of pricey.
Yep.
But if you take the lady friend out to a nice dinner, it's a good place to do it. Downtown, beautiful setup. Like Tim said, the Walnut Room is inside the Hotel Northland. If you guys don't know what the Hotel Northland is, our boy Vince Lombardi used to do his team meetings there when their offices were downtown, and players used to live there as well. So it's really quite the history the building has, because it was this real fancy hotel back in the olden days of the golden years of the Green Bay Packers, and then it ends up getting condemned, and then they turn it into Section 8 housing. And then they had to go in and clean it up, drugs, things like that. And then they've converted it back into the Hotel Northland. And it's kind of turned back into this. The Walnut Room was the name of that room. And they've turned that room into a bar and a restaurant. And you get a window seat overlooking the street. That would be my pick, would be the Walnut Room. But if you want to stay around Lambeau, I'm going to tell you right now, man, it's pricey too. But Tavern in the Sky at the
Lodge
Kohler, man, beautiful view of Lambeau, awesome setting, great food, really, really good spot. That's the place, in my opinion, to go after a game too.
Yeah, for sure.
If you're staying there. If you're not staying there, see if you can sneak in. Just don't tell them I told you to do it, all right? But if you just walk, I've learned in life, Tim, if you just walk into a place like you're supposed to be there, 90% of the time.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
I'm on the phone. I'm looking for somebody. I'm doing something. I'm going, no, I've got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm just, next thing I know, I'm getting a drink with all the upper crust. You know what I mean? Like that's how that works. They've got a cool setup too at the Tavern in the Sky, a balcony with gas fireplaces. So you get these fire pits. You can take your drink, and go out on the balcony, and you're right next to Lambeau. It's a really, really cool setup too. So make sure you check that out.
So you said you ran into Devondre Campbell at Republic, huh? AFAM says, I bet Campbell dined and dashed.
That's a great point. He was nice to us. We talked to him for a second. I'd mentioned on the show I ran into a player, and I'm like, I don't want to give his spot away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the time, of course, that was when he was at the top of his game, and he was so thankful and appreciative to be in Green Bay. It was like, man, I really like this dude. He was awesome. So
it's crazy because I've never heard anything negative about anyone who's had any like personal interaction with him. Like, so it's like,
yeah,
does he just suck as a teammate? But he's a good person. Like I don't know.
I want to say, was he our Walter Payton Man of the Year
nominee? Yes, he was.
For the stuff that he and his wife had done in the community.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a lot's changed there. We won't go into all the details. It's none of our business, obviously. But look at Emilio on the road.
Emilio!
This show sucks for sure once you hit the like, and make sure to sub. Emilio's out there on the grind. He's driving to New York, I believe. Is that what he said, Tim?
Yep. New York, going to see family, I believe.
Yeah,
be safe on the road there, brother.
That's right. Safe travels there with that wagon you're driving. I imagine that Emilio's driving a
red race car.
I was thinking a 76 station wagon with carpet on the dash. You know what I mean? That type of thing is what I'm thinking. I'm just saying.
Love it.
So, all right. Anything else we got here, man? I think we did pretty good tonight, man. We covered a lot, and again, the topic obviously was Jair tonight, and all right, how much would you miss him if you had to part ways? We now know we can put it to bed. The injury got worse. That's what it was. We need to stop with the whole he's faking an injury. You don't want to be out there. And I know it's a very, very small amount of people that were doing that. But hopefully now, too, the people covering the team will hopefully that'll be mentioned and put to bed, although some may try to get as much out of it as they can. You know how that goes. So,
of course.
Yeah. But anyway, so there you go. As far as our needs and the poll question that we had tonight, just to make sure we didn't overlook anything, offensive line 59%, wide receiver 26%, then quarterback 11, tight end 4. So we won't even include those as such a minute amount. So the viewers here on YouTube suggest that our top needs on offense is offensive line, and I'd say they'd probably say specifically center would be my guess there, right? And then wide receiver is the other need. On defense, it was defensive tackle on this show on YouTube, and then cornerback was second. I think specifically we're probably talking slot corner. Seeing how well Carrington and Keyshawn have kind of held their own on the outside, it kind of feels like slot would be where you can make your hay and keep Keyshawn on the outside. If you get an outside corner, this is all assuming if Jair isn't here this next year. Right. I think there's a good chance. I think there's at least a 50-50 chance he's back next year. I don't know how you feel, Tim.
I'm still there with you until we hear otherwise. Yeah, and we'll see how Jair feels and how this goes. But I would definitely anticipate a restructure attempt at some point. Yeah,
and like I said, we'll tackle all that as soon as we get into the offseason, as soon as the Super Bowl wraps up and all that good stuff. So, all right, that's it, guys. We're out of here. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Want to give a special shout out to the Super Chats. United Bates, thank you so much, buddy. Very well said. Again, thoughts and prayers to everyone in New Orleans and anywhere else in our great country that some dumbass is doing something to hurt other people, right? Yep. Josh Martin, thank you for the Super Chat, pal. Badger Trio, thank you for the Super Chat. King Tron just came in with one. Thank you, King Tron. He says, like and share, folks. These boys give us so much entertainment. We are blessed to have such a great source of info for our favorite Packers. Go Pack Go. Thanks. Hey, King Tron, we are equally as blessed to have you in here, buddy, and everybody that's whether you Super Chat or not, everyone that's in the chat, you guys make the show, man.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're out. We'll see y'all in the morning for Good Morning Lambeau. Everybody have a great evening. Once again, for the final time, Happy New Year. The lights are down. We're on to the playoffs. And obviously, we're going to be getting into some offseason talk here real soon. It's going to be a lot of fun. Everybody have a great evening. See you in the morning.
And we go. We out.
Bye, guys.